For over 2 decades, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson stood as Hollywood's most reliable powerhouse. His presence on a movie poster promised a worldwide spectacle that would rake in massive profits. This sets up the core subject right away, highlights Johnson's transition in his professional trajectory, and draws the audience in by affirming a widely recognized fact about his former supremacy. Yet, that invincible approach has finally crumbled, demolished by a staggering $6 million box office disaster. The term "yet" serves as a shocking jolt, sharply opposing the initial assertion with a harsh, precise setback, the film "The Smashing Machine," forcing the viewer to pause and wonder how this downfall occurred. Nevertheless, that exact catastrophe has just uncovered the astonishing sole route remaining to rescue his career. The word "nevertheless" yanks the storyline into an entirely fresh trajectory. It defies the anticipated outcome that a bomb is simply negative and teases the disclosure of an unforeseen perspective, captivating the viewer to discover how a defeat might chart the course ahead. The fractures, a string of significant bombs, Jungle Cruise, Black Adam, Super Pets, calculated blunders. A sequence of tactical errors where the previously unbreakable Johnson method either collided with an immovable force or was mismatched to the incorrect challenge. This went beyond mere individual movies tanking. This concerned the entire framework being scrutinized. A. Jungle Cruise 2021, the pandemic excuse. The initial substantial fissure came with a built-in justification. Launched in the summer of 2021, Jungle Cruise navigated the choppy seas of a box office ravaged by the pandemic. Its earnings, $221 million worldwide against a production cost exceeding $200 million, fell short for a Disney escapade featuring Johnson and Emily Blunt. Cinema visits were still feeble. Disney chose a mixed rollout, debuting the movie at the same time on its streaming platform for an extra charge. This undercut theater revenues. The fault was pinned entirely on the situation, on the outbreak, on an innovative delivery system. Johnson remained protected. The story framed it as heroic endurance, not artistic misfire. Indeed, Disney demonstrated ongoing confidence by quickly approving a follow-up. The assurance, though tested, seemed unbroken. The split was dismissed as foundational harm from an outside tremor. B. Black Adam 2022, the self-centered collapse. Then arrived the confrontation. Black Adam was meant to be Johnson's crowning achievement, his pinnacle of personal branding. It wasn't merely a film, it was a full-scale acquisition. For years, he relentlessly hyped it as a game-changer for the DC world. He wasn't only acting, he was overseeing production, plotting strategies, and notoriously pushing to overhaul the series' structure by matching his anti-hero with Superman. The outcome was a dramatic public meltdown. The movie earned $393 million globally, a number that might celebrate a smaller project, but signified a ruinous deficit against its net production expense nearing $260 million, excluding a colossal promotional outlay. The culpability this round was clear-cut and fell squarely on Johnson. Industry articles outlined a shoot molded by his exclusive viewpoint, additional filming to heighten his role's supremacy, a vibe prioritizing unyielding charisma over plot unity, and a promotion effort that spotlighted his individual image above the movie's narrative. The heavily promoted post-credits Superman appearance came off less as a commitment and more as a frantic authority grab. Viewers turned it down. The studio's response was the harshest in contemporary tentpole annals. The fresh heads of DC Studios, James Gunn and Peter Safran, didn't merely sideline a sequel discreetly. They openly and firmly dismissed Johnson's suggested multi-picture arc, basically banishing Black Adam from their revamped DC landscape. It was a jaw-dropping career slap. The celebrity who insisted on a crown was escorted out. See DC League of Super Pets 2022, the subtle brand damage. In the midst of the Black Adam spectacle, another shortfall communicated a lot through its quietness. DC League of Super Pets, an animated feature where Johnson lent his voice to the canine protagonist Crypto, brought in a humble $207 million worldwide on a $90 million budget. For a fresh animated effort, this wasn't a catastrophe. But for a family-oriented project headlined by Johnson, a genre he once dominated, it was a mild setback. The responsibility was divided with a rather ordinary idea and intense rivalry in animation. Still, the implication was evident. His voice acting draw by itself could no longer ensure a huge crowd. The wholesome family aspect of his image, once as sturdy as Moana's homeland, had acquired a minor split. No continuation was revealed. The quiet from production houses was revealing. The Smashing Machine Catastrophe, the ultimate blow. The Smashing Machine 2025, the personal venture wreck. If Black Adam was a deafening blast, the Smashing Machine was a hushed, eerie plunge. This represented Johnson's heartfelt endeavor, a bold dramatic turn with respected filmmaker Benny Safdie. He abandoned the champion image to depict a tormented, substance-dependent MMA warrior. The sector observed, intrigued. Could The Rock evolve? The box office reply was a crushing denial. The movie debuted to a lifetime low of $6.1 million in the US, limping to a worldwide sum of merely $21 million versus a $50 million budget, a total swollen by Johnson's personal $4 million advance payment. The analysis exposed a flawless tempest of discord. The fault was triple-pronged. First, a basic betrayal of the fanbase. Surveys from the premiere weekend indicated 70% of attendees were young males, Johnson's primary action supporters. They showed up anticipating The Rock and got a stark, unyielding personality exploration instead. They spurned it, delivering a scathing B- cinema score. Second, a monetary disconnect. Johnson's A-list compensation and the choice to film on actual celluloid inflated the costs for a specialized indie drama, rendering break-even almost unattainable. Third, a promotional flop. Distributor A24, expert at marketing director-focused works, failed to connect Johnson's persona with Safdie's concept. They marketed an enigma, and the broad public concluded it wasn't their thing. The studio's feedback was the starkest indicator of the shifted landscape. Warner Brothers and A24 rapidly redirected the discussion from cinema failure, emphasizing its instant triumph as the top streaming hit on HBO Max shortly after. The signal from Tinseltown was no longer fury, but a detached, practical teaching. Dwayne Johnson could serve as a prized resource for streaming material where the burden of a debut weekend vanishes. For big screen launches, though, his brand now bore a heavy and indisputable hazard. The $6 million start wasn't simply a statistic. It was the conclusive rift that obliterated the former certainty. The diagnosis: why the Rock formula ceased functioning. The repeated defeats exposed a core reality. The globe had transformed, but the strategy stayed static. What had been an asset, the steady, dependable, oversized identity of Dwayne Johnson, had soured into a constraint. The weaknesses in his box office shield weren't arbitrary. They were indicators of three linked issues afflicting his film selections. First, the burden of the indestructible figure. For ages, crowds were welcomed to view The Rock as a secret agent, an aviator, a semi-divine being, or a treasure hunter. The core offering, however, was invariably The Rock. He was extraordinarily capable, bodily superior, and ethically upright with a smirk. This uniformity was the foundation of the brand. But gradually, it fostered a deep absence of tension and novelty. Contrast this with the shape-shifting performers the field now praises: a Christian Bale, a Margot Robbie, an Austin Butler. They vanish into parts, generating fragility and suspense. Johnson's roles never vanished. They emerged completely developed and unbreakable. In a time yearning for genuine human turmoil, from the mental breakdowns in Oppenheimer to the philosophical mayhem of Everything Everywhere All at Once, the unbeatable protagonist started to seem insubstantial, more a business commodity than an engaging individual. Second, the massive change in viewer preferences. The pandemic didn't merely halt movies. It readjusted their appeal. Film enthusiasts, now choosy with their hours and funds, require spectacle-level freshness or deep resonance. They rush to daring unique concepts like Barbie or enveloping director-led journeys like Dune. The secure wager, a known celebrity in a known category, no longer counts as a must-see. Johnson's lineup after 2020 mostly delivered repetitions. A comic book vigilante in Black Adam, a cartoon creature in Super Pets, a historical romp in Jungle Cruise. These were variations, not breakthroughs. The Smashing Machine, although an artistic gamble, was poorly tuned, neglecting to convey its uniqueness to his main followers. The public now invests in the innovative and remarkable, and Johnson's contributions were progressively seen as holdovers from a before-the-outbreak strategy. Third, and most vitally, the poisonous economic equation. Johnson's megastar deal arrives with a megastar cost, forging an almost impossible profit formula. His initial pay is said to hit $20 million or higher per project, paired with hefty back-end production cuts and incentives. His ventures are infamous for vast, expensive reshoots to refine his character's depiction. This balloons expenses to dangerous levels. As one sector financier observed, a Johnson blockbuster now must surpass 600 to 700 million worldwide to merely break even. In today's environment, that's a bar only the most culturally attuned hits clear. Black Adam, requiring about $800 million for real victory, was doomed from the start. The setup turned counterproductive. The exact expenditures designed to secure excellence, his salary, his authority, the special effects to bolster his presence, heightened the odds of fiscal ruin. This unviable arithmetic is worsened by increasing rumors of production site logistical clashes. Though not entirely verified, ongoing accounts from projects like the forthcoming Red One suggest habits of persistent tardiness and timetable interruptions linked to Johnson, causing millions in excess costs. For studio leaders, a star is a stake. When that stake brings not only a steep price, but elevated reputational and functional peril, the math alters. The inquiry moves from, can he launch a film, to, does the downside justify the possible gain? For the first occasion in 20 years, the response increasingly is negative. The verdict is unavoidable. The character appears redundant to crowds desiring metamorphosis. The endeavors seem traditional to a marketplace honoring boldness. The expense feels excessive to studios handling financial uncertainty. Collectively, these elements created an ideal maelstrom, tearing down the most secure gamble, one lackluster financial report after another. The business wasn't merely eyeing a performer in a slump. It was evaluating an enterprise. Hollywood's response and the fresh guidelines. The response: Hollywood's icy new computation. Hollywood isn't a realm of emotion. It's a system of formulas and examples. Dwayne Johnson's string of disappointments has been crunched through its unforgiving reasoning, yielding a straightforward and measured reply. The period of unquestioned trust is finished, supplanted by a novel-wary formula that prioritizes controlled danger over celebrity-fueled assurance. The most revealing proof lies in the quiet of project lineups, where announcements tied to Johnson, a novel series, a new thrill ride, were once regular occurrences, there's now a notable scarcity. Big studios aren't hurrying to authorize the next high-rise thriller or monster clash. The unrestricted funding stage of his path has concluded. Rather, the sector chatter, as covered by outlets like The Wrap, has evolved. Studio bosses and investors now confidentially label Johnson as a hazard element to be allocated and reduced, not as an enchanted fix that ensures earnings. His name once sparked auction battles. Now it initiates an intricate pros and cons review including spending limits, joint funding allies, and rigid achievement terms. In reply, Johnson's camp has performed a calculated withdrawal to the sole territory still unchallenged, proven, indestructible intellectual property. His verified big undertakings aren't novel explorations, but comebacks to established security. He's returning for the concluding chapters of the Fast and Furious series, a realm he already aided in reaching its zenith. He's leading the live-action version of Moana, a cherished asset where his voice work is pre-endorsed by a planetary crowd. These aren't progressive maneuvers. They're protective strongholds. They signify a profession shifting not expansively but regressively, finding refuge in previous triumphs. Even the intended Jungle Cruise continuation, once an emblem of outbreak-era toughness, has been silently abandoned, a direct victim of the original's lukewarm returns. This pullback highlights a novel dual-level outlook for his appeal. For the classic cinema blockbuster, his position is being deliberately restricted. At the same time, the Smashing Machines showing has sharply outlined a different avenue. Its disastrous theater performance was succeeded by an instant attention-seizing victory as the leading streaming option on HBO Max. For studio number crunchers, this generated a revolutionary statistic. It demonstrated that Johnson's celebrity influence retains huge worth in the engagement-driven world of streaming, where the measure is watch time, not premiere weekend totals. In streaming, his draw can be utilized minus the grueling monetary peril of a planetary theater ad push and an enormous budget. Ventures once imagined for theaters, moderate-cost action flicks, mature tales, offbeat laughs are now much more prone to be offered to him as platform-only releases for Netflix, Amazon, or Warner Bros. Discovery. It's a feasible, profitable descent, but one that marks a sharp downgrade in sector standing. The definitive response is one of rearranged authority. The influence Johnson once held, insisting on artistic dominance, molding film worlds, securing record-breaking payments, has been drastically reduced. Upcoming deals will feature greater studio supervision, tighter fiscal restraints, and maybe a rethinking of his pay to mirror the updated risk degree. Hollywood hasn't terminated Dwayne Johnson. It has, though, downgraded him from top executive to a prominent and rigorously monitored department leader. The icy new computation is straightforward. The benefits must at last and commensurately align with the established dangers. Conclusion: evolve or diminish, the sole routes remaining. Evolve or diminish, the confrontation. This isn't a eulogy for a profession. Dwayne Johnson stays a gigantic presence with followers in the millions and the live-action Moana poised for enormous achievement. But the phase that shaped him, the phase of the instant $100 million approval, the uncontested creative command, the unerring business pledge, is definitively concluded. The $6 million debut of The Smashing Machine was the full stop on that declaration. Hollywood has delivered its judgment, not verbally, but through deeds, stalled project lists, a fallback to series sanctuaries, and the reclassification of his celebrity force from a propelling element to a regulated factor. His route ahead now splits into distinct, severe options. He can persist as the series' hired gun, the powerful piece in ready-made engines like Fast and Furious, where his contribution is a familiar, secure element. He can accept the role of streaming icon, where his allure is cashed in via viewing stats without the savage open examination of a launch weekend. Both are practical, rewarding paths. However, a third, much riskier direction exists: the artistic hazard. This would demand the exact element his image has evaded for 2 decades: open fragility. It would entail accepting a drastic salary reduction to collaborate with an innovative filmmaker, undermining his image in a part of true weakness or shadow, and pursuing not merely audiences, but creative vindication. It's the lone direction that could reconstruct his cinema trustworthiness from the base. The tale of Dwayne Johnson is no longer about assured conquest. It has transformed into something more riveting: a decision. He can carry on as The Rock, a mythic brand with outlined and lessened business boundaries. Or he can aim to emerge as Dwayne Johnson, the performer, and launch into the one battle his roles never encountered: the battle to reshape himself. The closing chime on his former phase has sounded. What he undertakes in this subsequent bout is his call.